Yes, sir. Welcome back. Hello, everybody. Dan Haggerty here. This is In Depth, and it's where we spend a little bit more time on some complex issues. This week, we're talking about the plan in Madison County to put AR-15s in every school. The sheriff explained this idea recently on Facebook, saying each AR will be locked in a gun safe in each school, accessible to the school's resource officer, the SRO, in case they encounter a school shooter. Now, normally, I'd tackle a story like this in one night with one big story, but this is a massive topic, and since they won't give me the whole show, I've been doing a little bit each night. Now, you can watch Monday's and Tuesday's segment on WRAL's YouTube channel, so if you're like, hey, why isn't he talking about this? I might have already talked about it. So look it up there. Just send me an email, dan@WRAL.com, and I'll send you the link. No problem. You can also find me on social media and get involved in how we discuss these topics. What am I missing? What else should I be paying more attention to? Like Bob, who said, Dan, as a former resident of Newtown, Connecticut, and an alumnus of the Sandy Hook School, I do not believe the storing of deadly weapons is going to improve school safety. Uvalde's Ross Elementary School had many heavily armed, supposedly well-trained law enforcement officers on campus. It did not alter the outcome. Now, I hear this sort of argument a lot, especially when you look at the deadliest school shootings in our country's history, like Uvalde, like Parkland. Both had SROs who were either off duty at the time or out of position. This is also a place in the discussion where people conflate the issue. So let's make an important distinction here between preventing violence and responding to it. Because the idea that police don't matter if someone is shooting people, well, that's just incorrect at a school or otherwise. Let me explain it this way. In 2018 in Illinois, a school resource officer stopped a school shooting before anyone got killed. A student opened fire on a graduation rehearsal, but the officer confronted him, avoided a flurry of bullets, and shot the 19-year-old, who went to the hospital and survived. No one else was hurt. Then, just 10 days later, in Texas at Santa Fe High School, a school with 2 armed officers, mind you, and a shooting plan that was well practiced, was forced to mourn 10 people after a 17-year-old gunman opened fire. One of the SROs was critically injured. It took backup from the highway patrol to corner that student, wound him, and force him to surrender. 2 wildly different outcomes. But in both cases, law enforcement, that's who ultimately ended the mayhem. Same in Uvalde, same in Parkland, and almost every other school shooting in recent memory. Simply put, when someone starts shooting people, you want police there as soon as possible. This is tried and true. What isn't as clear is the relationship between SROs and preventing a mass shooting, which is why my ears perked up a bit when the sheriff said this during his AR-15 announcement on Facebook.
So to those who might be looking to terrorize or harm our Madison County kids, don't bring that foolishness to Madison County, because it won't end well.
You see, we have learned a lot about school shooters over the last 20 years or so. What motivates them, what deters them. In a 2021 study, the JAMA Network, which is a meld of medical journals, they published a study that examined 133 school shootings from 1980 to 2019 and found, quote, no association between having an armed officer and deterrence of violence. And it stated prior research suggests that many school shooters are actively suicidal, intending to die in the act. So an armed officer may be an incentive rather than a deterrent. Joe emailed me at dan@WRAL.com and said, Dan, your piece addressed part of the problem. The real problem is with the school system and local school administrators. We need locked doors and access standards for all schools. A random safety check should be ongoing, etc. Those are really good points, Joe. And you know who agrees with that line of thinking? The Department of Justice. In a 2020 report, the DOJ said SROs, quote, may have a profound impact on the school's ability to prevent targeted violence, but only when paired with 9 other essential actions, as they call them, for a safe school. They include, in this order, a safety assessment, a school climate that fosters connectedness, school security, like locked doors, an anonymous reporting system, coordination with first responders, a threat assessment plan, school-based law enforcement, like SROs, mental health resources, drills, and social media monitoring. Now, I do want to mention something that maybe some of you have been thinking all along, and it's that we shouldn't have SROs in our schools at all. They do actually do a lot more than just prepare for school shootings inside of these different school buildings, and it's true that every student body has a unique relationship with law enforcement, vastly varying pros and cons to having officers in the schools with them. And if you want to discuss that topic, let me know. Email me at dan@WRAL.com or find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I welcome everyone. You deserve to have a voice in these conversations, like Nick, who emailed me and said, "Nice spin, buddy. Don't put your liberal twist on it to influence the viewers. It's important that kids are kept safe despite your anti-gun viewpoints." I am not anti-gun, but I welcome this type of email. It's important that you question me, that you care about how I say the things that I say. And I won't ignore Nick or any of you. That said, I'm out of time tonight. So we'll get into that one tomorrow, I promise, right here at 7 o'clock. Dan@WRAL.com.